Star Wars collectors, and welcome to another Bossk Bounty video. And in this video we're going to be taking a look at the Star Wars The Vintage Collection Jod Nawood from the Skeleton Crew. This is a new figure in the line that was included in the most recent wave of TVC that also included the Imperial Jet Trooper and Ahsoka the White, to name a couple of them. Obviously, we don't know too much about this character. Nobody out there has actually seen the Skeleton Crew. We've only seen a couple of trailers. But essentially, I would describe the Skeleton Crew as a cross between Stranger Things and Goonies in space. It seems to be a show that is more aimed at the younger audience. It looks to be a bit of an adventure with a group of kids that are lost. And this guy, Jod Nawood, seems to be like the sort of mentor of those kids. They're going to sort of run into this guy at some point, I would imagine, and he's going to help them along in their adventures. That's kind of what I think. I could be completely wrong, but we're going to be taking a look at this figure anyway. We're going to be looking at it from a figure perspective rather than knowing too much about the character. With all that being said, if you do happen to enjoy the video, hit the like button down below, subscribe if you're new, and let's take a look at the card back. Alright then, so here is a closer up look at the card back. Of course, this is the first time that we've seen the Skeleton Crew logo on one of these TVC card backs. You've got Jod Nawood in the name pill. They've gone for green with a green panel behind the figure. And then, of course, you've got a picture of the character. I can't tell you whether that's a good image of him or not because I haven't seen the show. But ultimately, the character is played by Jude Law. And, of course, there he is, Jude Law. And hopefully when we get the figure out of the bubble, it's going to look a little bit like Jude Law as well, because essentially that's who's playing the character. So there you go, VC 310 on the back of the card there. And there you can see the figure. He seems to have like a scarf, which is a plastic molded piece that goes over his head, which you can see he's wearing there, but we'll get into that in a second. Vintage Collection logo. Not too much else to say about it. As I said before, first time we've got the Skeleton Crew, and I'm sure it won't be the last. Alright then, so here is Jod Nawood out of the packaging, and as you can see, I've got the headscarf piece on the figure at this moment in time, and we will take a closer look at that in a second. He's holding his one accessory, if you're not counting the headscarf, his little blaster in his hand there. Pretty simple pose, and you can see he's got his nice long jacket, and we'll check out all of the details. But I just wanted to show you the figure now, and quickly also just to show you a size comparison so you can see how tall he is. We're just going to put Sol there next to him, pretty much the same height in terms of the figures. And there you go, a quick look at the figure from the back. You can see his long jacket there, and the long jacket does have sort of splits up the sides to, you know, aid the articulation of his legs. But I'm just wondering if he's going to have the same issues that Chirrut Imwe had with that plastic piece on the back of him, if you remember that figure. So even though you could get him in some dynamic poses, because of the plastic, it kind of sort of unbalanced the figure basically. But we'll have to check that out in a second. Alright then, so here is the headscarf piece to begin with, and as you can see, it's like made of a soft vinyl plastic. It's quite bendy. There is some nice sculpting work of the stitching and everything on there. Now, the last time we got a scarf headpiece was with Captain Rex from the Bad Batch, and I think that was soft goods. So they've changed it up this time, made it sort of soft vinyl plastic instead. Maybe they didn't like the way that worked. But that's that piece there, and now we'll take a look at his tiny accessory. There it is there. It's very much like a pirate's pistol, and very difficult to hold and see. And that's going to go into his little holster that he has on his belt, which is a separate piece to the figure, but that can just go in there like so. Fits quite well. And now we can take a closer up look at the head sculpt. Now, in terms of having a figure that is based on the likeness of Jude Law, I think they've done a pretty decent job. It's one of those ones that looks a little bit better the sort of further away you are, if you've got it maybe a foot away from yourself rather than super close up on the camera. But you can see there's some nice paint applications on the head. Photo real, all of that goodness, bringing out some of the detail, and they've got his hairline absolutely perfect. The figure itself has a soft vinyl jacket. Of course, it's armless, so you could take it off if you wanted to. Very rubbery plastic, but it's got some nicely painted pockets and also painted sleeves on the cuffs there, with like a gold paint. See on that one as well. And on the cuff there. So all in all, quite a nicely sculpted jacket there. You can see some of the crisscross effects. And when we open up the jacket there, you can see he's got like a V-neck shirt on. You can just about work out that he's got collars there. And there's that separate belt piece. And then underneath there, he does have some detail on the belt buckle, which I thought was pretty cool. Now, I'm sure a lot of you are aware that these legs are actually the legs that they were going to be using on Ali or Shush if they decided to make that figure. So the Shush figure that was going to be the last tier of the HasLab Cantina was actually going to be a partial tool figure because it was using these exact legs with these boots. And you can see that these cargo trousers there look pretty decent in terms of the sculpting work and everything. They've got all the creases in them and everything. I think they look great. And then if we lift the back of the jacket up there, you can just see some more of the detail of the boots. So all in all, pretty cool. And next, we'll take a look at the articulation. Okay then, so the head is on a double barbell joint, but you wouldn't know it because the head is actually quite difficult to move around. It doesn't have a great deal of range of motion. You can't really sort of look down. And this is a running theme again with a lot of figures that I've had recently in the vintage collection, especially human characters. The Jedi Master Soul is another one, although he does have like a longer hairpiece, but there's not really any excuse for this figure. He doesn't have a big hairpiece or anything like that. So I just think they need to make the actual joint a little bit longer because, as I said, you can't really get too much range of motion with that. It's a bit strange. He does have the hinge at the shoulders, which go that high up and all the way round. Of course, we have the really good elbow joints, which go past 90. He does have hinges at the wrist, but unfortunately they are hindered a little bit by his cuffs. You can't really move that too much. That one goes up and down. So that is a little bit of a shame, but it's just the way they've, sculpted the figure with those cuffs. We look at the torso there. That's going to be a ball on the waist, which is pretty decent. Of course, he has the new barbell hips. He has this split at the thigh. We have a knee joint that goes about 90 degrees, and then we have the rocker ankles. Now, as I mentioned, this jacket is removable, but if you're keeping it on the figure, because that's basically how he's supposed to look, it does have these splits up the sides there, both sides, so you can articulate his legs with the coat going either side. But of course, if you're going to be sort of getting him into sort of kneeling positions and things like that, the coat is going to end up hitting on the ground at some point, I would imagine. So we'll take a look at that in a second. We can see if we can get him into a half decent pose. All right then, so you can see there that I've got the figure in like a kneeling position, and the jacket is actually the perfect length. It doesn't drag on the floor too much. I'm sure there's other sort of poses that you'd want to get him into that you might not be able to because of the length of the jacket. But for me, I'd probably want the figure standing for the most part. But as you can see, you can sort of get him into a kneeling position and the jacket doesn't really hinder it too much. And as you can see, we are utilising that split there for his foot to go through. And on the other side, it doesn't need it because it's a little bit further back than the other side, if you like. But there you go. That is the review of Jod Nawood from the Skeleton Crew. As I mentioned before, we don't really know too much about this character. Of course, if you're watching this video by the time it comes out, then obviously you do. But at the time of recording, we don't really know too much about him, apart from seeing him for a limited amount of time in a couple of small trailers. But in terms of the actual figure, I think he looks pretty good. I'm looking forward to the show. I'm going to give it a chance. I'm hoping it's going to be good. Really, really do. And let me know your thoughts in the comment section below of the figure. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you to my Patreon supporters and channel members for supporting my channel and me in the way that you do. Really, really do appreciate it. And thank you to everybody for watching and supporting the channel and helping me get to 30,000 subscribers. It really is an awesome thing. I never thought I'd be able to get to 30,000 subscribers when I first set out and made this channel. So testament to you guys for sticking with me, and thank you so much. Thanks for watching, everybody, and we shall see you on the next one.